All of the live-action Star Treks that we've had under Alex Kurtzman have been misconceived, even when they've occasionally worked. The actual idea behind them was terrible. Welcome to the Tack and Pulse podcast, your place for sci-fi news, rumour and debate.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So, I'm not including Lower Decks in this, because I actually think that was very well conceived, it was a brilliant idea, and it worked for me. I know not everybody likes the animated stuff, but if you're going to do a bit of a parody, a comedy related to Star Trek, do it as an animation. Don't do it as a live-action workplace drama or whatever it is you're bloody planning to do. Tawny, who I actually really like, but this is a bad idea. At this example, though, there's a show that's not been made that is poorly conceived, is exactly this work-based comedy that they're planning. It's not a good idea. It could be brilliantly done, but it's not a good idea. It's a poor business decision once again, and it is what Secret Hideout are desperately pushing. But let's go through the live-action shows, and I'll explain my point a little better. 1. Discovery. The first season was so badly conceived, it's almost funny. Now, they based it on a starship, the Discovery, and they made it look ridiculous. They also made it look really advanced. Now, don't get me wrong, I know why they designed it the way they did. It was a throwback to some designs, early concept designs of the Enterprise. So they thought, as Trekkies, we'd love that. They made a big deal of it in the run-up to actually Discovery coming on our screens, that's why it was designed the way it was. But it was designed like no other starship we'd ever seen in Star Trek. There is a way of designing the ships. And okay, it had a saucer section, but it had all those cutting holes in it. We've never seen that before. It had a massive triangular drive section that we've never seen before, and the warp nacelles was something like we'd never seen before. So, what on earth were they bloody thinking? They also made it the most advanced starship around at the time, which again made no sense. They tried to say, oh, it's the best of the best. It's just, it wasn't. So, no, it was a very poorly designed vessel, and it was a bad business decision to allow it from day one. They should have done a starship that looked like it fit the time, a starship that looked like it was actually part of the Federation. But they did worse. They decided to make the Klingons look like that, which was a very bad idea. Look, Discovery got better for me. They had to burn, terrible idea, and that massive anomaly that was wiping out planets and things, terrible idea. But my point is, it was misconceived badly from the start. Kurtzman came in with ideas and things that he'd done in the J.J. Abrams movies, and he genuinely thought he could pull those through into Star Trek, and that we would love it. It's a genuinely misconceived plan as well, that they've got to just do Star Trek to bring in a new audience and ignoring us Trekkies. Discovery is the perfect example of that. They didn't care about the existing Trekkies and genuinely thought they could get away with making these changes. They shouldn't have done. It was a mess. It was a mess from day one. Now, I'm even going to include Worlds. It was a bad idea. Now, you guys know, I don't like prequels. I just don't. They're genuinely a mess. They're genuinely done so that you can throw in characters that you've seen before, and it's a lazy way of, making the audience feel like that, oh, we know what's going on here. Or they show characters when they're younger. My problem as a prequel is you kind of know where it's going. You know Spock's going to be all right. You know bloody all the rest of the characters that we see in the original series, Uhura, etc., are going to be all right. There's no jeopardy because you know they're going to be okay. There's a storyline, and Enterprise is at risk, and oh no, is the Enterprise going to be? It's going to be fine. In the movies, at least, the Enterprise was destroyed a couple of times, something that was repeated. You knew it wasn't really going to happen in the series, but we lost characters. Tasha, we were like, oh, she's dead. That's a surprise. But they can't do it in a prequel. If a character comes in and just doesn't work, say Ethan Peck just hadn't worked, he was just really roundly hated, he just was a bad Spock. There's nothing they could do about it. Because it's a prequel, you're stuck. The reason why, though, I say Strange New Worlds was misconceived. Ethan Peck. Anson Mount came into Discovery Season 2. Discovery Season 2 was just as bad as the others, but Anson Mount was brilliant. Just like Giorgio, Michelle Yeoh's character was brilliant later, Anson Mount was great in Season 2. He was so good, basically, it got them Strange New Worlds. They say it was for the fans, but actually it was planned all along. They had bloody cast everybody, and it's not a shock that then all of those people got jobs. It was a preconceived plan. But anyway, I genuinely think a prequel on the Discovery is bad enough. A prequel on the Enterprise is really bad. And then, again, they had the business model that they basically said, we're going to borderline remake the original series episodes. And that's being very fair, I think. It runs up to the original series and steps on its toes. And then they come up with the idea of Star Trek Year One, which is going to risk that even more. And they'll end up just remaking other episodes. It's a bad plan. It's a bad business plan. Trekkies like looking forward. We love the TNG series because it was a step on. They could have just recast Kirk and everything and followed on from the original series if they were being lazy. But Gene Roddenberry had enough sense to go, no, let's go even more into the future. It was brilliant. By going backwards and then doing something like Strange New Worlds, even though it was cast brilliantly, I think a different cast in that show, though, and it would be roundly hated, just like Discovery was, by many Trek fans. We like it because of the cast. If you actually break it down, a lot of those stories, they're not very good. And again, it's because it was badly thought out from the beginning, in my opinion. They could have... Look, they did do Monster of the Week. That was a good idea. But again, it was done with the same idea that it was going to be to bring in a younger audience and basically Trekkies can sod off. It was a bad idea. Picard, Season 1 and 2. Season 3, they actually got the right idea, I think. They followed on from TNG. In Picard Season 1, they dragged through storylines from the J.J. Abrams movies. The whole thing about the star going off and destroying the Romulan Empire. It didn't actually make any sense. A star can go off and wipe out another planet, don't get me wrong, because a star can go off and you get this gamma burst when a star goes off, and sometimes it can hit other planets. It doesn't destroy them, though. It basically irradiates them. It blows away the atmosphere, and just you die of gamma radiation poisoning. Well, then, if anyone survives, you die because your planet hasn't got an atmosphere. But in Star Trek, the planet was destroyed. Romulus was destroyed. Unless the Romulan star goes off, that can't happen. I think badly conceived Picard Season 1 because they focused on Picard. And I'm sorry, Patrick Stewart was too old. It made the stories very clunky. It really made them difficult to watch at times because you're watching Patrick Stewart and Picard really struggling to do some of the physical stuff. They turned him into an android at the end of the first season. That was basically planned. So, again, a badly preconceived idea. They went into that series with that plan to do that. Terrible idea. They then went into Picard Season 2 and did the whole Borg thing. And again, the way it ended, that made no bloody sense, was the plan from the beginning. And remember as well, Terry Matalas wrote a lot of that. Now, he didn't showrun it, so it wouldn't have been his decision to make a lot of things. He just wrote the words and things. But, you know, he had far more to do with Season 3 and did it what he wanted. But if they were going to do a Picard series, they shouldn't have done it. They should have done a TNG series and brought some of those characters back from the beginning. And this is my problem. They have no bloody clue. You've got someone like Mike McMahon who looked at Star Trek and he did an animated series and it touched on all of the things we love about Star Trek. It had exploration. It had a lot of comedy, obviously, and a lot of silliness, which some people don't like. But it was actually, if you take all the silliness out, a really good Star Trek show anyway. People can't see past some of the dick jokes, but fine. With the live action shows, none of them were planned well. All of them came at this Star Trek thing from the wrong direction. And only, for me, Picard Season 3 got it right. They actually conceived that show the right way. We may have good episodes of Strange New Worlds. We may have had good episodes of Discovery. Personally, there was very few. But the problem is the show was planned wrong from day one. And that means it's not a good show. It can't have been. It was never going to be. That's the problem. And I think even Strange New Worlds is suffering for it now. We've got used to the cast. Maybe the shine has gone off that a little bit. And Season 3 was not good. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Do you agree with me that these were doomed from day one? That they were just badly conceived? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to Patreon where I do completely new videos just for Patreon. You can see me, I can tell you a little bit more than I can't always say on YouTube because it's an open channel. And I talk about comments and things from the videos, so you get a whole... I can swear too. That makes me happy. Go and check that out though. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.